Hi, John Martinez here, and what I want to do in this video is just show you around our sales training portal so you know kind of what's all in it, how to use it, and how it works in conjunction with our live training series. So what I'm showing you right now, what you see on your screen is just our opening page, the lessons page. So just like it sounds, all of our lessons and resources are housed on this page. You know, you can scroll up and down and see there's quite a bit of stuff there. So I'll go through what all is actually housed in here in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to talk about how this page works with the live webinars, where to find the webinars, and that sort of thing. So if you look up in the gray bar, you see your personal settings, but also a lessons tab, which is where we are now, and a webinars tab. So now you know where the lessons are under the lessons tab. If you click on the webinars tab, you'll see our schedule of sales training, the live sales training. This is actually for our next course coming up from when I'm filming this. It starts January 31st, runs through April 18th. As you probably know, or maybe some of you don't know, our trainings run back to back to back. So trainings usually take about 12 weeks to get through the whole live series. And as soon as we're through with that, we just start over again. So I've had a lot of investors that have been with me 1, 2, 3, going on 4 years now. And they use our weekly live trainings in our portal to train new salespeople as they grow and scale. To keep their current salespeople sharp, they do it every session or every other session to make sure those skills stay really focused. And really that's how they use it for their new and their existing salespeople. They just keep using it over and over again. It's a one-time fee. You pay it once, then you have access to this for everybody on your team, really going on forever for all the live sessions we do going forward, which is usually about 4 a year. 12 weeks, that's about a quarter. And again, we do these back to back to back. Now, when you jump into these live sessions, you can add it to your calendar. You can see the dates and times, all that kind of stuff. You can also see the dates here and add to your calendar from these little tabs. But when you actually go in there for the live sessions, what you're going to see is we do them 2 ways. We do a live stream, and then we also, most of them are teleconference though. So what you see is you see my slide deck on the screen, and there's a comments box. So as I'm going through the slides and talking, you see all kinds of other comments from everybody. You can make comments yourself. I watch them, I answer questions. And then I can also unmute people, and we could do role plays or answer questions in that live setting, voice to voice, and that type of thing. So it's really interactive. So when you go into these live sessions, that's what you actually see, that's what you actually get. It's a teleconference. I click through the slides. I can unmute you, we can talk, or if you like to type, a lot of people just like to type, they just type into that little comments box, and we go back and forth that way as well. Now, for each one of these live sessions, every time one is over, within 90 minutes, that session is recorded and then placed under this same link. So if you miss a session or you want to go back to one of these live sessions, what you do is you click on the link, you'll see the recording of it, and it'll also let you really click through back and forth through the slide deck at your own pace. If you want to go forward, backwards, pause on a certain spot, that's completely okay. So these are our 12 live sessions. These go in conjunction. Let me go back to our lessons tab. These go in conjunction with our lessons. So the first 12 lessons are really the 12 weeks of the Live Academy. So I'll cover what these are real quick, and then what we'll do is I'll tell you what else is in the portal. So week 1, new session kickoff. So the way this works is you usually have homework. You'll get an email that says, hey, watch these 1, 2, or 3 videos to prepare for our live call. Then on the live call, we'll talk about what you saw, do some role play, answer questions, that type of thing. So week 1, getting to know the training portal, how to get the most out of this training, some expectation stuff, and some bonus videos. So you'll watch these quick videos, and as we hop on the webinar, I'm going to really set the foundation for the course, what to expect, the structure of it, and then get into how and why people actually make buying decisions. Week 2, you'll grab some homework. You'll watch a quick 10-minute sales call breakdown, another short video, and then on week 2, what I do is I take you through an entire sales call from a pretty granular level. What to say, when to say it, from the very beginning to the very end, and why to do those things. So right from the start, you're going to get a good idea of how you can run sales calls more effectively. Some different things you can say and do in the order to put those things in throughout so you can get some instant traction. Now, the key to this is to make sure you're moving the needle every single week. There's a lot of information, but we want to make sure you are able to move the needle every single week. You're on here. So that's week 2. We go into training week 3, setting the stage for open, honest communication. There's just a few things we can do at the beginning of a sales call, and even throughout a sales call, that really start to lower the seller's barrier so we can have an open, honest conversation, because we need to have an effective sales call. It relieves a lot of pressures and things like that, really makes all the sales calls run quite a bit smoother. This alone will move the needle as well. Next is motivation. We break this up into 2 pieces, uncovering motivation and creating an urgency to take action. So we talk about motivation, how to use it as leverage, exactly what type of motivation makes people buy, the questioning strategies we use, real motivation versus surface motivation, or real pain versus surface pain. The next week, we continue that. This is a really important lesson. So we go into some more types of questioning strategies. I'll actually give you the exact questions to ask when using the questioning strategies, the 1, 2, or 3 that I use. There's really 3 types of questions you need to ask. I'll break down those 3 questions and exactly how I ask them. So you've got questions that work word for word, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. We'll talk about some other advanced stuff as well. Like Instant Influence. That's a book written by Michael Pantalone from Yale Medical. Wrote this awesome book on influence. We'll talk about some of that stuff as well. Training week 6, how to overcome your prospect's resistance. So this is also really important, very powerful, broken up in 2 sessions. So we go over the principle of scarcity, how to use scarcity in the questions you ask, with the way you interact with your prospects. So if they're a little hesitant or hostile or push back or reluctant to answer your questions, what do you do so that all melts away? So we talk about all that kind of stuff. Then we go into empathy, tactical empathy. How do you make sure that no matter what you say, what you have to ask, if you have to give a low offer, that no one ever gets mad at you? If someone starts to get embarrassed or upset in any way, how do we within seconds reverse that so they're in a state where they're feeling just fine? Okay. Week 8, we go into uncovering and eliminating deal killers. So when we talk about motivation is really why someone would do a deal with you, right? It's their why, it's their reason. But here's the fact of the matter. No matter how much motivation someone has, like, hey, I'm really motivated to have a 30,000 square foot home or drive whatever exotic car that, I loved when I was a child. But there's things that stand in the way, like money and tons of other stuff. So no matter how motivated your prospect is to sell, there's often a ton of stuff that gets in the way from them actually taking action. So in week 8, what we do is we go over how do you uncover all the things that will keep them from taking action so we can deal with it. Because if we don't deal with it up front, what's going to happen is those unresolved issues will turn your sales call into one that ends with a maybe or a think it over, and you'll go into chase mode. So we cover how to uncover those deal killers and exactly how to get your prospect to overcome them themselves. Week 9, we go into closing. Right? So how do we know when to close? There's actually one question you ask. Depending on the answer, you'll know exactly when to close or not. The presentation, how do you present? How do you present in such a way that even if you are offering the exact same thing as your competitors, even if you're offering less money for a property than your competitors, how do you make your presentation stand out? So even if you have a lower offer or your offer is the exact same, the prospect or the seller chooses you over anyone else. How do we deal with, I need to think about it at the end of those presentations? Week 10, we continue with the close. We go into negotiating. So how do we negotiate the best deal? How do we do that in such a way that the prospect or the seller feels really good about it? And then after that, what do we do to make sure this deal doesn't fall apart on us? So those are the 2 main things we cover in week 10. In week 11, we wrap it up. We kind of zoom back out and from a high level, break all this stuff down to very simple steps, right? So, hey, if your prospect says this, here's what you say or do. If they do this, here's what you say or do. If they do this, here's what you say or do. Basically, we give you the formula. Now that you've gone through the training, we just simplify it. So it's just you almost don't even have to think anymore. And it doesn't matter what kind of ride your prospect takes you on and what kind of twists and turns there are. You'll know how to handle any situation. Again, they do this, you do this. We'll know how to react. Because let's face it, we can go in with a plan and we want to stick to a basic structure, and we always do. But the prospect is always going to throw a curveball at us. And we got to know how to handle that stuff without just, losing it altogether, right? We need to know how to navigate with ease and with confidence. So next we go into, sometimes we do a couple different things. It's student's choice. So sometimes we just do an open Q&A. Sometimes we do REI Phone Pros. That gets into lead management, how to write scripts, how to answer the phone, how to deal with all the stuff you deal with when trying to produce leads inbound into, or convert inbound leads into appointments, qualify those leads, or even do some outbound cold calling and produce leads that way. Sometimes we do both. Sometimes we do the Q&A and the REI Phone Pros. Again, it's student's choice, so we let you choose. Sometimes you choose both. We do both. We'll tack on an extra week to accomplish that, or just do a bonus session. Next, we get into managing a sales team. So really here we focus on three things: getting some talent, the right talent, and hiring them, coaching that talent, and holding them accountable. Because really those are the three things that will allow you to turn a sales team into really a top performing sales machine. So we go over how to hire the right salesperson, how to test them, how to interview them. We go into coaching. How do you coach your salespeople? What do you want to focus on? And we go into accountability, right? How do you make sure and hold them accountable to those things which they're supposed to be doing? So we cover those three things, and I give you the tools to do it yourself. It's a service we provide, but hey, you got manpower. I'll give you the exact same tools we use, and you can manage your own team with the same tools I manage my team with. Mini bonus trainings. Then we've got a whole bunch of stuff that just really cool stuff that I wanted to make sure we didn't leave out. How to get your calls returned. How to get your prospects to keep your appointments. We talk about cold calling and lists. We talk about, I do a video critique of an actual sales call. How do you door knock pre-foreclosures, and what's that script sound like? We got REI Super Cool Ninja Tactics with just a whole collection of super cool little sales tactics and strategies. I've got a message there for when a seller goes dark. Send them that message. If there's anything left in the deal, they'll get back to you. Clever ways to uncover asking price. We get into some other cool stuff. One of them is the perfect three-step voicemail, so you get your voicemails returned. Influence. We talk about different questioning strategies at a higher level. And some different selling stuff. Some really, really cool stuff. So how to build rapport quickly, simply, easily. So that's what you find in these mini bonus trainings. They're usually like 3 to 5 minutes a piece. Some are under a minute. So they're just really cool little tidbits that if it applies to you, you can click on it, watch the video. This is what you get. I'll click on one so you can actually see. Here's what our videos are like. You fast forward past the intro. What happened, it's so automatic. So some of them are like that, where it's just I'll walk you through a slide deck. Other ones, I think this is one where it'll just be a live recording of
one of the biggest
me walking through.
Is keep the focus on.
So that's what those look like as well. So let me click back out of there. Now the final, lesson number 15 we have in here. This is previously recorded live webinar sessions. So remember how the structure of this is: each week you'll get an email from me that says, hey, this week our homework is this. Watch these short videos. That's what we're going to discuss on the live webinar. These are the live webinars that we've recorded before. There's a lot of people who sometimes don't want to wait week to week. I do recommend you do, because it's a lot of information, and we move through it at the perfect pace so you can actually absorb it and use it. But some people, like me, like to jump ahead, really like to just dive in head first and soak it all up. So for those people, I've got all the live sessions from a previous session recorded. So you could just watch these on your own. You could do a lesson and then watch some of these just as if you were in the live training in an accelerated format. So these are previously recorded live webinars. Remember, like I told you, after we do each webinar, they're automatically recorded. These are all the webinars from a previous session with different students. So guys, that's really our training portal and what we cover. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of our training. the portal, how we deliver it, and what to expect if you're in our training or thinking about joining our training. Again, quick recap. Lessons. These are the core training lessons for our sales stuff. And guys, this does not just apply to REI. Obviously, that's what we focus on in this course, but anyone selling anything or trying to influence anyone's decision, such as dispositions people, retail real estate agents, and so forth, this stuff will apply to them as well. They'll get just as much out of it. And then we have the webinars is when we really dive in deep and we talk about those lessons you just learned. How are you going to apply them in your words, in your market, with your role, right? So that's where we get down and dirty and get really deep in the details and deep in the weeds for what you do, so we make sure you can actually apply it in your world. So I hope this is helpful. My name is John Martinez. This is the REI Sales Academy. I hope to see or talk to you soon.